The moment you stopped carrying a relationship alone, there becomes a day when your heart becomes too tired to keep fighting for someone who has already stopped fighting for you. Not because no one no longer loved them, but because they finally realized that one person can not carry a relationship that was meant for two. The day you put down that heavy burden, it is the day your life begins to change. Hey there, if this is your first time of joining my channel, please subscribe, click on the notification button, like and share. For a long time, you believed that if you just tried a little harder, everything would be okay. You were always the first to apologize. You were always the one making peace after every argument. You planned the dates. You started the conversation. You remembered the important days. On on you checked on them when they were sick. You encouraged them when they wanted to give up. You kept the relationship alive. They simply enjoyed it. Whenever there was silence, you broke it. Whenever there was distance, you closed it. When there was a misunderstanding, you fixed it. You kept telling yourself that love requires sacrifices. But what you didn't realize was that you had become the one, you have become the only person making sacrifices. You decided not to send the first message again. You waited to see what would happen. You waited. Morning passed, afternoon passed, evening came, nothing happened. The next day, your phone remained silent. Then another day, then another. That silence answered a question you had been too afraid to ask. You stopped carrying the relationship. Would it still survive? The answer was painful. It won't. You realized that you had been building a relationship, you had been holding one together by yourself. That truth broke your heart, not because you had hated them, but because you finally saw how lonely your love had become. You remembered all the times you cancelled your own plans just to make them happy. You remember the sleepless night you spent worrying about someone who slept peacefully after hurting you. You remembered every excuse you made for them. They were just busy. They are under pressure. They will change. But deep inside, you already knew the truth. People make time for what truly matters to them. One afternoon, you were sitting alone in a quiet place. You looked around and noticed something. Families were laughing together. Friends were enjoying each other's company. Couples were smiling without forcing it. For the first time, you asked yourself another question. When was the last time I felt this kind of peace? You couldn't remember. You remembered that your relationship had become a place where you walked instead of a place where you rested. That day you made a decision. You would stop carrying what the other person refused to carry. You stop forcing conversation. You stop begging for attention. You stop reminding them to care. You gave them the same effort they were giving you. Nothing more, nothing less. Days passed, then something surprising happened. They finally noticed. They were asked why you had become quiet. They asked why you had changed. They asked why you were no longer chasing them. You looked at them calmly, then said something simple. I'm tired of being the only one trying. Those words filled the room with silence. For the first time, they had nothing to say because they knew it was true. You didn't live with anger. You didn't shout. You didn't seek revenge. You simply stopped carrying a weight that never belonged to you alone. The first few weeks were difficult. You missed them. You missed the memories. You questioned your decisions. But something beautiful slowly began to happen. Your shoulders felt lighter. Your mind became quieter. Your smile returned naturally. You no longer woke up wondering whether someone will remember you today or not. You no longer measured your worth by someone else's effort. You started enjoying your own company. You you rediscovered dreams you had forgotten. You spent time with people who appreciated your presence instead of expecting your sacrifices. Months later, you heard that they were telling people you had given up too easy. You smiled when you heard it because only you knew the many years you had spent trying to save something they refused to build. Walking away wasn't giving up. Walking away was accepting reality. Love is not supposed to feel like carrying someone on your back every single day. Real love walks beside you. It doesn't watch you struggle alone. The, the greatest lesson you learned was this: a relationship cannot survive on one person's effort. It takes two people choosing each other every day. If you are always the one calling, always the one forgiving, always the one sacrificing, always the one fighting, then you are not building a relationship, you are carrying one. And no matter how strong you are, one person will was never meant to carry the weight for two. The day you will the day you finally put that burden down may break your heart for a while, but it will always set your heart free, because the right person will never make you wonder whether you are carrying the relationship alone. They will make they will walk beside you, hold your hand through every storm, and make sure the weight is shared. That is what real love looks like.